What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for To Having to Hold Charlotte Season 1, Episode 3. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hope you like this video. So, look, I can just go on and admit when I'm wrong. I was having a conversation earlier today on my live, and I thought Elena was going to be the one tonight. Okay? I said, oh, I think Elena going to get it tonight. But it ain't Elena. It's going to be Miss Christine. So, look. Episode starts off. We have Elena and her husband, Yandrick. They're talking, kind of recapping things, and he was like, "Hey, you came home last night and passed out. I wanted to see how that little V pot did. See if anything feel a little different. And they were joking and everything, and they were talking about Christine and Daryl, Christina Daryl, and they're having a pizza party, right? And you know, Elaine was like, Elena was like, he didn't invite me. Look, let me start over. Elena was like, Christine didn't invite her to the party, and Yandra was like, oh, well, Daryl told me about it. It's cool. And she was like, no. She should have, we were out last night. She didn't mention it, which means she didn't want me to come. Because had she wanted me to come, she would have brought it up and it would have been, part of the conversation. She was like, and I don't understand what the problem is. Like, I don't understand why Christina doesn't want me around because I didn't do anything but introduce her to some friends and open her, invite her into my circle of friends or whatever. Now, they seem to have a catty relationship back and forth. I would be honest with you. Both of them seem to just have this issue with each other, so to speak. But it seemed like it was an intentional slight. And, the men don't never know what's going on with the women. So, of course, Daryl was like, they were out at the cigar bar. And Daryl was like, everybody come to the party. But probably not realizing or knowing that his wife had not extended the invitation to everybody. And so they sort of talked about that a little bit. But then come to find out they ain't going to the party anyway because Yandrick, I know I'm saying that wrong. Look, y'all, I don't know why I can't get these names right. Anyway, he has to go out of the country. He's going to Mexico for a potential business venture. He already had let us know that he had a restaurant business that kind of went out. He invested in and it didn't do too well, which sort of kind of hurt their money situation a little bit. And so this is the opportunity for him to be the head of distribution for a high-end champagne company. So he's going to Mexico to kind of wine and dine and schmooze and all that good stuff to try to get this job. And so, he invites his wife to come. He's like, oh, you want to come? She was like, hell yeah. I need me. He said, it's going to be at a resort and everything. She said, well, hell yeah. Because remember, she has her own business. So she can sort of kind of do that thing, rearrange some things and get her own business going. So, they're not even going to be at the party. So you wasted a slight for nothing because they ain't coming anyway. Then we move over to Miss Ursula. We get to see Ursula with her daughter. And we find out a little bit more about Miss Ursula. Ursula was a teen mom. She said she had her first daughter when she was 17. And her and her daughter seem to have a really good relationship. We find out her daughter has a boyfriend who's 11 years older than her. He's a barber, but he also does like some DJing or some things like that. And Ursula's thing is, she said they got together and they moved in together really quickly. She was like, I don't like it. I'm not happy about them sort of shacking up, but I also don't want them to rush into marriage and kids and all of that. Ursula seems really fixated on her kids not making the same decisions that she made, good, bad, or indifferent. I don't want to say mistakes and I don't want to say bad decisions because, I feel like even decisions that were bad, that seemed bad on one end, work out. So I don't want to say bad decisions or mistakes because, of course, her children are not mistakes. But I think in her mind, it's like, I just want to alleviate them from making some of the decisions that I made. And at the end of the day, we'll get a little bit more deeper into that as the episode goes on. But at the end of the day, you really can't control that. And honestly, sometimes the more you push left, they're going to go right. And we know that. But we'll get back to that. So that was sort of their conversation. And she was just letting her know, look, because they have a cat. She's like, look, you stick to being a cat mom. You know what I mean? Ain't no need rushing into kids. No need rushing into marriage. You just keep, and her daughter was like, oh no, I'm good. I'm happy with the way things are. I have some things I want to do. I want to go back to school, and I have some other things I want to get into. And so they were cool with it. It was like, okay, cool, cool, cool. So then we see Christine go over Peter and Josh's house. And this is where we see a little bit more of the messiness, because of course she brings up Elaine again, and she's talking about her, I'm the queen of Charlotte. She being catty again about the whole situation. And again, I say, I don't know what the issue is between the two of them. I hope we get to it by the end of this season, or that's going to be a part of their little storyline, because it doesn't really seem to make sense right now why they don't like each other, but it's mutual. Like, it's not like one person is like, oh, she's cool and I like her, and the other person's like, It's mutual. They're catty back and forth at each other. And once again, Peter just kind of didn't really say anything. He let her make her little jokes. He laughed or whatever, and I was just like, okay, Mr. Peter, you can't play the fence on this one. But then he did say in his confessional, he was like, Elaine knows that she drama. She knows she has a lot of drama. That's her thing, and it is what it is. So I was like, okay, well, I guess he feels like because she knows she's drama that it's okay. But again, I know that when you have two friends that don't like each other, you got two choices. Either you pick a side or you stay out of it 100%, meaning you can't talk about her when I'm around you, and you can't talk about her when I'm around you. Like, you know what I mean? But letting Christine constantly make these little jabs at Elaine is going to probably come back and bite Peter in the ass at some point, because Christine seems like the kind of person that's going to throw Peter under the bus and be like, well, when I was with Peter, I said da-da-da-da-da. When I was with Peter, Peter's going to be like, what? What? So I don't know. We'll see how that one play out. So then we see Miss Ursula. And she done hooked up a little date at, it looked like it's like a indoor, not rock climbing. What is it? It looked like, because we never really got a chance to see her actually do anything. We saw her get all hooked up, looked like a zip line or something, but she's climbing, and it looked like it's an indoor zip line maybe situation or something. I'm really not sure, because we never really saw the whole thing, how it worked out. But her husband's coming back from an out-of-town trip. He was in DC for the week. He was in my city for the week. And he literally came straight from the airport. Like, he walked in the door with his luggage. And he was like, well, she gave me the address, but I didn't really know where I was going. He shows up, and she got the hard hat on, and she all harnessed up. And he is like, okay, so... Because she on the phone talking all sexy to him. And he was like, yeah, I thought we were, like, going to a hotel, going to do some, like, romantic evening or something. I don't know what this is. And I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, now, come on, Ursula. You really thought this man was going to get off a plane and be ready to do some extreme sports. Like, really? And, of course, he had went out. He said, it was his last night in town. He, we did a little something the night before. He said he kind of hung out and went to the cigar bar and stuff like that. Now, Ursula ain't happy about that. Well, first of all, Ursula don't like him doing the whole cigar bar thing, anyway. And then she was like, yeah, I know you weren't in your room last night because I tried to call you. And I was like, oh, see, that's what this is about. This is a low-key punishment for him having a good time in DC, right? And so they got to talking a little bit about the conversation she had with her daughter about the boyfriend and, them not rushing into marriage and everything. And what we find out is that because her husband is not the biological father of her oldest two children, I think. And but of course he raised them. He's known them, she said, since they were 11. So, since the oldest was 11. So he's raised them as his own, and he is like their father. And he seems to have a really good relationship with the boyfriend. And so he said, well, Ursula's like, look, the last thing I want them to do is be thinking about marriage and all this other stuff. Like, she ain't ready for that. And it's not personal against him. I don't have a personal problem against him. I just don't think that they're ready. She's too young to settle down. I don't want her to be where I was. I was in my, mid-20s, and divorced, about to be divorced with 2 kids. And I just don't want her to be where I was. I want her to enjoy, you know, her 20s and not have to worry about the struggles that I had. You know, at the end of the day, it's about the struggles. And so, you know, he was like, all right, well, I'll talk to him. You know what I mean? Like, I'll check him out. I'll talk to him. I see what's what. So then Ursula is insistent that this man is about to do this daggone extreme sport. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. She was like, oh, for real? He was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. And at first I thought she was going to really convince him to do it. But he really put his foot down and was like, yeah, I'm going to just sit over here. I'll watch you. I'm not doing it. I'm tired. I just got off the plane. I've been traveling for 5 hours. And I'm like, yeah, Ursula, let that man go home. That just seemed like that was weird to me. Anyway. Oh, so then we go over to Tayati and David. And it's time for her to pack up and leave for the week. He's home. He did his week away. Now it's time for her to do her week away. And he told her, he said, look, I ain't like this. I didn't like being away from my family. I didn't like being out of my castle for the week. He corrected and said our castle, but it's your castle too, boo. He said, I didn't like it. And honestly, I don't want to leave again. And her response was, not really concerned what you like or what you want. This is what I need so that I can figure out what I need to do. She said, you know, you had time. I need that same opportunity. I need time to pray. I need time to meditate. I need time to really figure this out without being in the house and all the things that go with our day-to-day in the house. But she said, saying you want something and doing it are 2 different things. And you could tell that it really hurt her to walk out that house. She really did. You know, I think sometimes people say stuff and they don't really mean it. They think they mean it until it's time for it to really happen. And then it's like, I don't think I mean it. But then you don't know how to kind of back out of it. And I kind of think that's where she is. Although I truly feel like she doesn't know what else to do. Because she said this has been going on for 3 years and nothing has changed. And although I don't remember them talking about going to counseling and things of that nature, I would, because of the type of personality she seems to have, I believe they probably have tried that. So I don't know. I think she thinks this is what they need to do. You know, like she really feels like, hey, this is what we need to do for this to work or try to work, or if we're even going to get to the next point. However, this don't feel too good. But that was hard. I mean, you could tell that both of them that just wasn't what they really wanted to do. So then we go over to Josh, Peter, and Christine. No, not Christine, Juliana. Josh, Peter, and Juliana. And they're sitting down to have the conversation. They both agreed, Josh and Peter both agreed that the conversation they had last week was very good. That the conversation was the beginning of them setting boundaries, the beginning of creating a better situation for all of them. And Josh did admit that it's me. It's me that needs to set boundaries and put some lines in the sand. And it's me that needs to do it. And I just have to figure out how to be comfortable in the conflict and be the bad guy, I guess. So I thought that was really good. So they decided that this is when they were going to have their family conversation with the 2 girls and the 3 of them and talk about their different dynamic. And what I thought was so funny was one of the first things. First of all, Juliana says, girls, remember when you asked me about your 2 daddies and asked me about homosexuality? And they were like, no, honey, that thing took me out. Now, I don't know if the kids really just didn't believe it or the way she worded it, they didn't make the connection between, because I believe they did ask her about it. I don't believe she made that up. But it was funny that immediately, you know, she was like, oh, so y'all just go Oh, you have to go throw me under the bus. Okay. And I think that maybe the way she worded it, they were like, we ain't asking you about homosexuality. You know what I mean? But then when you put it together with, oh, yeah, we asked you about our two dads. Like, you know what I'm saying? But they went on to have the conversation. And the other thing I thought was funny was they said, well, you have friends that have two mommies and two daddies. And they were like, oh, yeah, they're lesbians. Like these kids, it's funny but sad at the same time that they are exposed to so much at such a young age. But it's funny because it's not. They were like, yeah, oh yeah, well they're lesbians, yeah, but they asked some really good questions, and I think they did a really good job of explaining about it, and they were like, yeah, she was like, well. Because they said, well, our friends asked us which one of your dad is your dad, and we were like, both of them, and they were like, no, which one is really your dad, and we were like, both of them, and so the mom Juliana was like, I think what they were asking you was who is your biological dad, and Peter was like, okay, I'm not sure which direction this is about to go in. Are we getting ready to have the talk? But she did a good job of saying, who you get your genes from, which I thought it was interesting that they knew what genes meant, but okay. And so again, I like these little girls. They are so cute. They said, "Oh, well, yeah." She said, "Well, you get your genes from daddy, and you get your genes from mommy." And the little girl was like, "Yes, and we get our sense of style from Peter. Well, from Poppy. They call him Poppy." I said, "That is hilarious." No, did they say awesomeness? What did they say? Whatever it was cute. It was really cute. So I thought that was really cute. And so it was overall, it seemed like a really good conversation. And it was needed. It was a needed conversation. They're getting older. And again, like I said, kids are exposed to so much that it's a shame that the world forces you to have conversations before you think your children are ready for the conversation. But unfortunately, that's just where we are, where they're exposed to so much. But it was a good conversation, and I love the way they did it. They sat out on the floor, and they had hot cocoa, and they had sleeping bags, and it was cool. It was really cool. But honey, at the end, the girls were like, yeah, and we all live together now. And Peter was like, no, 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 we don't. We don't live. No, we don't. I said, see, that's how much her ass over at the house. The kids think they all live together, but no. But it was good. I thought that was a really, really good, good conversation and a good way it was handled. I give kudos to all of them for how that was handled. And the little girls seemed really cute. They really did. It was a really cute conversation. So anyway, Elaine is packing to head out to her trip to Mexico, and Tayani comes over, and they're talking or whatever. And first of all, they're talking about Miss Christine and this falsehood of reality of marriage that she has. Because remember when they were down at the V pot last week, she said how she does not pass gas in front of her husband. I didn't bring that up in the review, I forgot. But she doesn't pass gas in front of her husband, nor does she go take a number two in front of her husband. And they've been married for 10 years. So they were talking about, okay, between the 48-hour rule and not passing gas in front of your husband, like that is just, y'all are living in a whole little like Harlequin romance novel type reality. And again, if it works for you, it works for you. But that's just crazy to me. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Not, it's funny. I've done that, like when you first start dating somebody, like you don't pass gas. And it was funny because I had a boyfriend one time. He's the first time, I think, I don't know. I didn't do it on purpose. I ended up passing gas, and he was like, I think that's the first time you have passed gas in front of me. And we had been dating for like 2 years. But I don't think it was a conscious thing. Like I just didn't do it. You know what I mean? I would leave the room or go in the bathroom or something. Like, I just didn't do it. So when she said it, I didn't think that was unrealistic. But after 10 years of marriage, like, this is just somebody I was dating. We weren't living together. Marriage? And you don't pass gas? That's crazy. So, Tayati and Elaine sort of give Christine, that side eye, like, girl, go sit down somewhere. You know what I mean? I think on top of that, and she's younger than them, I think. And so they kind of give her the little side eye, like, girl, go live a little bit more and then come back and tell me what you doing in your marriage or not doing in your marriage. But they sort of had that conversation. And then, and Elaine is like, Tayati is going to understand that Christine ain't really her friend. There was a little foreshadowing going on in that conversation because she was like, Christine she's going to invite my friends that I introduced her to her little pizza party, but not invite me. Like, that's real disrespectful, which to a certain extent I can agree with. Especially if there is no, like, we didn't fall out or nothing. You're going to jump over me to invite my friends to an event at your house and not invite me. And there was no overt situation between us. That's like that. That's that low key, that like passive aggressive shit, And Elaine picked up on it. She caught the shade. And Tayati was like, well, I'm going. We had a good time. I always have a good time when I go over their house, so I'm going. And I think Elaine was a little taken aback by it. And she was like, okay, well, she's going to realize who her friends are. And I was like, oh, boy, here we go. All right, so it's the day of the party, honey. It's the day of the party. And Ursula, I'm sorry, what's it, Clint? Her husband, he ends up going to go get his hair cut by the daughter's boyfriend. He does, I told y'all earlier he was a barber. So he went to go get the haircut or whatever. He went to go talk to them. And come to find out, Ursula's daughter has a whole nother conversation going on with her boyfriend than what she's telling her mom. And she probably ain't tell her mom what's really going on because she knows how her mother feels. And she probably just don't want to hear her mama mouth. And Ursula got her hair blow dried out, y'all, for the party. It looked real cute. It's nice and long, too. It's real cute. I like it curly and natural, but it looks really nice blow dried out. Anyway, so they're having a conversation. And he says, well, no, we've been talking about marriage. And so, of course, the husband is just like, oh, shit. Is it Clint? It's Clint. Anyway, so, of course, he was like, oh, shit. Like, because Ursula sent me here to shut this whole thing down. And this man talking about that they've been talking about marriage and they're ready to make the next step. And so he's trying to talk him off the ledge like, well, you don't really need to rush into nothing. Take your time. Because, when Ursula was talking to, baby girl, she was making it seem like that you guys were just kind of just living in the moment and taking it as it is. And y'all weren't really ready to get married or anything like that. And, the boyfriend was kind of like, well, actually, I had invited you over here to ask you for her hand in marriage. And he was like, oh. Like, no, he said, ask you for your blessing. So, of course, he's sitting there like, oh, okay. Well, you got my blessing. Like, what are you supposed to say? Because he was like, I like the guy. I don't have a problem with him. And I think that he loves her. Like, I don't have a problem with them. I know Ursula has a problem with this, but I really don't. And I'm not going to tell this man he doesn't have my blessing. But now he got to tell Miss Ursula that he didn't tell that man that he didn't have his blessing. So Ursula comes to pick him up because they're going straight from the barber to the party. And Ursula, got on my glasses. So he's trying to explain to Ursula. He says, I think your daughter may not be telling you the whole story. Because I'm talking to old boy. And he talking about like they ready to get married. He asked me for my blessing. And of course, Ursula wasn't having that. Ursula said, I tell you what. He better come and ask the mama. He better come and ask the person who carried her for 9 months. Don't be asking other people. You ask me. And here's what I'm gonna say about that. And I'm gonna hurry up because it's getting long. I'm a little torn between that because I feel like this. That is what the tradition is. The tradition is you ask the father for his daughter's hand in marriage. And so this young man was being respectful and doing things the traditional way. Now, here's the other problem I have. That's the second time that Ursula made it very clear that he wasn't her real father, but she was the real mother. You can't have it both ways. If this man raised this young lady as his own, and that's how he sees her, and that's what you see, and that's what their relationship has been, and that boy didn't do nothing wrong. He did not do anything wrong by going to Clint, I really hope that's his name, and asking him for his blessing to marry his daughter. I understand where Ursula is coming from because she does seem to be sort of controlling or whatever. But that little boy, no, I'm going to have a little boy. He probably that young man did not do anything wrong. And I kind of felt bad because Ursula was like, he better come to me. Ain't no blessing going on until I give the blessing. And I was like, oh Lord. She was like, he had one job. And he done walked out of here and they about to get married. And that was the opposite of what he was supposed to do. And I was like, well, oh well. So anyway, there's that. So, the other thing was, I'm rewind a little bit. The other thing was when Christine was with Peter and Josh early on in the episode, and they were talking about the party and everything. Christine said, "Well, I can hook Juliana up. She was like, let's hook her up with somebody, and maybe she get a boyfriend now to keep her out of y'all's hair a little bit." Which is what I said last week. She need to find a hobby, and if it's a man, that's fine too. But Christine decides that the person she's going to invite to introduce to Juliana is Tayati's ex-boyfriend, Dr. Carl. Because I'm a little torn on it. That's why I'm hesitant. Do I think it was a little bit messy? Yes. And the reason why I think it was a little bit messy is because Christine said it like she was kind of up to something. So I think her intentions were messy. But Tayati been married, then had 2 kids and some more stuff. So I don't think it was like that ridiculous for her to invite him. Now, the problem was, I do feel like you owed Tayati a heads up to say, hey, I invited Carl, he's coming through. I do think you owed her that. Because when he showed up at the party, Tayati giving the side eye like, you didn't tell me he was coming. Again, if that's really your friend, you give her the heads up. Be like, yo, da 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 da. That happened to me one time, and I can't even tell the story because I can't. Anyway, it's happened before, so you just have to be. That was you were wrong for that. You were wrong for that, Christine. So they're at the party and they're talking or whatever, and they talk about the whole situation with Ursula's daughter and the boyfriend and everything. And of course the girls are, second and, yeah, he should come and ask the mom. He should have came and asked the mom. And I'm just like, I mean, of course your girls are going to say what you want to hear, but I don't necessarily think that that's the case. We find out David is coming to the party. So of course everybody's kind of looking like, oh, David coming. Oh, okay. David's coming. Oh, okay. Okay, I gotta hurry and get through this. But my last word on that whole thing is, Ursula, chill out. Chill out. Because at the end of the day, your daughters are going to make the decisions that your daughters are going to make. And all you can do is trust that you raise them right. And you let them know the decisions that you made and what decisions you wish you might have done differently. But at the end of the day, you can't, especially if that baby is in love. If she in love, what she thinks she in love, honey, we know how that story plays out. So chill out. Just chill out. It look like you raised a beautiful young lady. Chill out. So Peter and Josh and Juliana, they show up to the party, honey, and next thing you know, who is pulling up on their boat? Because remember, Christine and Daryl live on water. They live at the lake. Who is pulling up on their boat and docking is Dr. Carl and his friends. So that's when Tayati's giving the side eye, like, really? Like, this is the last thing I need. David's not here yet, and the last thing I need is for him to roll up and see my ex-boyfriend chilling here. Like, we already got enough issues. We don't need that. And then come to find out, this was the last guy that she dated before she started dating David. And she said the reason why she broke up with him is because he made it clear that he didn't believe in monogamy. She was like, so I realized that he's not the man for me. Like, he's a cool dude, whatever, but you're not into monogamy. I knew what I wanted in my life. And, Juliana said the same thing. She was like, yeah, I've seen him around. And every time I see him, he with a different woman. Not my type. I'm cool. Thanks a lot. But no, I'm good. I'll pass. And so that was a bust. So, Christine, you went through all that to try to be messy. And it was a bust anyway. So then David rolls up. And they get to talking about the nesting situation. First of all, that wasn't a conversation for public consumption. Second of all, that wasn't a conversation for a party. And third of all, it certainly was not a conversation in front of the ex-boyfriend. I don't give a damn how long ago he was the ex. And David was like, and he kept answering the questions, and he said, I'm sitting here trying to figure out, why am I even answering these questions? Because they're asking him stuff like, well, how do you feel about nesting? Do you think it's working? How long do you think y'all are going to do this? I mean, do you really think? And then Clint puts his 2 cents in talking about, well, I just don't believe in that. I think that you should stay there and work it out, because I would have a problem with not living with. And, Tayati was like, I don't remember really asking for your opinion. No, don't remember. Don't remember asking. And it got to a point where they just had to shut it down. Like, look, here's the thing. We're done with this conversation. Because it got really contentious. And I felt like, and Tayati said, look, I understand where y'all are coming from. Y'all want us, y'all love us. You want us, you don't want to see us break up. You want us to work it out. Thank you. We appreciate the love. But at this point, this conversation's a wrap. It's done. It's done. We're no longer going to discuss this, because then they got to asking about their sex life. Well, do you still have passion for your wife? And David was like, yeah. And Tayati kind of gave him the, oh, really? But David didn't realize that they were asking him about sex. But when he realized that, he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, we're not about to sit here and do that either. Especially, again, not in mixed company, not in front of the ex-boyfriend. Like, we ain't about to do all that. So then Christine wants to come up to my son. Well, I don't believe it's going to work. Do what? And that's kind of where the episode ended. But little Miss Christine, you a little messy, girl. You a little messy boots. Little messy boots. And it's cool if that's your opinion. But again, everybody don't need everybody's opinion on their marriage. And again, this goes back to Elaine opening her big damn mouth. Because had Elaine kept Tayati's confidence, the whole group would not know that they're nesting and what their situation is. Now, we wouldn't have a show either, so that's another conversation. But but everybody has an opinion on what these people should be doing with their marriage, and it's really nobody's business. Again, understanding your concern, understanding you love us, but this really ain't y'all business. So anyway, that was no, tonight's episode. It ain't. Well, yeah, it's last night. Anyway, that was the episode. Again, it was long-winded, but a few things went down. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.